Welcome back to the Seaboard Central, everyone. In today's video, we're going to talk about the current layout status and immediate future plans for the layout. So I hope you'll enjoy this episode. So to start everything off, let's start here where I've actually started building the layout. This is the ADM module, and it's exactly 2 foot wide by 8 feet long. And it goes through an opening in the wall back there. For the most part, this module is pretty much finished. All the scenery, all the ballasting and painting. There may be some more details added from time to time, but for the most part, it's far enough along where I can move on to other things. And the great thing about the ADM module is it packs a whole lot of operation in a very small footprint. And it was a great place to start building the new Seaboard Central, as it allowed me to get operation going pretty fast and actually hold little mini operating sessions while I'm working on the rest of the layout. It's especially fun using this little Atlas S2 as the industrial switch engine for the module. Now, since this part of the layout is set at 54 inches high, it allowed me to use an old desk that I had made on the old layout to go underneath this section. And this is where I weather locomotives and cars and get them ready for the layout. In this angle, you can see the wall that separates the ADM module from the other part of the layout. And we'll look at it next. So coming through the opening, we enter the Raglan Alabama section of the layout. This short yard lead that goes over a bridge where I did a series on, if you want to go back and check those videos out. This area is only 6 inches deep, but it allowed for some pretty cool scenery techniques. And the end of the track is disguised by an overpass. Another little series on the channel that I did was showing how I did this yard office scene and how I simulated little mud puddles after a rain where it's not draining properly. Now, the Raglan yard area of the layout is only 10 inches wide. Now, it has 4 tracks. 2 yard tracks, a main line, and a passing siding, or a runaround. It's in the back. In this part of the layout, I added a pond scene. I also did a series on how I did this scene. And I look at it as just a way to add another visual interest to the layout, other than just filling it with dead space with more track. It gives something for people to look at. And speaking of which, if you look really closely in the scene, you might even spot something hidden back there. Let me know in the comments if you see what I'm talking about. Now we've made it up to the areas where I'm currently working on the layout. These backdrops, all my backdrops are from TracksideScenery.com, and I work with Joey on, he customized this particular backdrop for me, and I think it turned out great how I was able to blend it into the rest of the existing backdrops, because many of the backdrops are from my old prior layout, and I was able to reuse them on this one. This part of the layout has an old abandoned spur track that runs along the edge of the backdrop that goes to that building that was on the backdrop. It's just something that used to be rail served years and years ago, and now it's no longer is, and the track is being taken over by Mother Nature. So that's just another area that adds a visual interest to the scene. And here's a building that is currently in progress of being built, and it will be built out further. This represents National Cement, which is a real industry in Raglan, Alabama. Although I've really stretched it here. The industry is actually located off the main line. But here I've got it right next to the main line, and the real place loads out a lot of cement hoppers every day, but this one I only do about 4 a day. And I use this track mobile as the plant switcher. Here's one more view from another angle. And this is also currently the end of the line on the layout. So now let's talk about immediate future plans for the layout. Right now, I plan on adding an old vacant depot here that's been boarded up and also possibly used by the signal department. I'll have some track side details that'll go in this area, maybe a chain link fence. Right here where you see a street that goes in the backdrop, I'm gonna have a crossing with some lights protection. So that should be hopefully a project for the rest of this month. Maybe you'll see it on the next update. I also need to finish the national cement structure, ballast these tracks, and I'll add some scenery right here along this curve to help blend everything in. So after I finish completing these modules, which I'm calling the upper level area, right here, I'll show you what I'm going to start on next. So next up, I'm going to start on the Gadsden yard modules. And here is one temporarily in place where I've actually put the roadbed down and putting the base color of paint on it. Now these yard modules are exactly 32 inches wide, which I would recommend not going any wider than 32 inches. These yard modules are also set at about 44 inches from the floor, unlike the other modules that I just showed, which were at 54 inches. Here's a little sneak peek of the other part of the Gadsden yard module, and I'm just testing how the switches will be laid out on the module. More on this one later. Every good company should have a vision or long-term goals, and Seaboard Central is no exception. So here's the long-term plans for the Seaboard Central, and you can see right here is where the ADM module is, and here is where the Gadsden yard modules are. Since this one is at 44 inches and this is at 54 inches, to connect those heights, I'm using a double track helix to get there. And then the rest of the layout will be in two separate rooms that I'm calling Phase 2 and Phase 3. Now, as you can see, the rooms for Phase 2 and Phase 3 are nowhere near completed, and my goal is to complete these rooms all the way out before I even attempt to start on this area of the layout. So hopefully I'll get started on this room in Phase 2 beginning in 2024. So here is a larger version of Phase 1 of the layout. And it shows, here's the ADM module and here's Gadsden Yard. And once I get this Phase 1 complete, I'll be able to have operations where trains can leave Gadsden Yard, travel up the helix, go to this upper level. The two yard tracks in Raglan, I'm treating as interchange in Birmingham, Alabama with the BNSF and CSX. And then also we'll have a local that goes up and works ADM and National Cement. So it should be really fun. There's a lot more that's going to be to the layout. So just keep watching and we'll see you next time on the Seaboard Central. So like I always say, happy model railroading, everyone.